guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an honest, quick, probably, review of the LaurenRoseUK resistance bands. Now I know potentially it's a little bit late to be doing this because they've been released now for a while and they haven't yet been re-released, but I thought I'd do it anyway because, to be honest, I was just so pleasantly surprised by them that I just thought it might be worth doing a video on them. And also, just to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more helpful to you, I'm going to include an at-home glute workout at the end of the video using the bands. So basically, to be honest with you, I can't really come up with any cons to this resistance band. When I received them, I was sort of expecting them to be not as high quality as they are because they are really well priced. They're actually quite cheap compared to a lot of the competitors on the market that are of a similar product. And as I've said in a previous video, the reason that I originally bought them was because Grace has said herself, because she's I think she's vegan or plant-based, or basically these are 100% vegan and cruelty-free, these resistance bands. That is why I purchased them in the first place. And I've said in a previous video that I didn't actually know whether other resistance bands were vegan or not, and basically the reason I bought them was because whenever someone says about a product that it is definitely vegan, I will be more likely to buy that product because I want to know that it's vegan and I don't want to have to do all the research that goes into finding out whether it is or not. But for the purpose of this video, I actually did try and look up whether some of the other resistance bands were vegan or not. And interestingly enough, it was actually quite difficult to find out in some cases. But what I can kind of conclude is that all the rubber ones, all the sort of slimmer rubber resistance bands that are what I've used previously, just because that's what's in the studio where I work, it would seem that for the majority of those bands, either you can't find out what they're made of, which is super frustrating, or they've got some kind of latex in them, and latex isn't vegan as far as I am aware. So those rubber ones you don't want to be buying if you are vegan. Now with a more material resistance band, so like this isn't rubber, this is some kind of heavy duty material. With these kinds of ones, I did find that, again, it was slightly difficult sometimes to find out exactly what they were made of, but for the most part I can only assume that the material ones are more likely to be vegan. But like I said, it's a bit difficult to find out, so plus for me with this is that they state that they are vegan, so that's great, no research necessary. Now, moving away from that fact, I thought I'd just go into why I think these are so good. And basically it's to do with, like I said, I have in the studio I work, I'm a personal trainer if you don't know, so in the studio that I work at we have mostly the rubber bands, and as far as resistance is concerned they are fine, but what's really irritating about them is they tend to like roll over on themselves, or when you have one wrapped under your knee and you're doing like a kickback or something, like a glute kickback, what happens sometimes is that it just rolls all the way up your leg and it's so annoying. Like if you're trying to get in the zone or trying to specifically target your glutes, if the band keeps rolling up every 2 to 3 reps, that is super annoying. And I found with these, I've never used a material one other than this, so I can only be speaking about these ones in particular, but I have found that they don't ride up, they don't roll over on themselves. It's a bit impossible to even make them roll over on themselves, so that's something that's really good about these, is they pretty much stay in place, and yeah, I just really like that. I also really like that they didn't come with a load of packaging. I ordered from, I think this was the second launch of the bands, and I believe they changed the packaging from the first to the second launch. I'm not sure, but I think I'm correct in saying so. And how they come now is just in this little kind of plastic, yes it's plastic, but you know, no one's perfect. There's a little plastic bag, it just says on the back what it is, a resistance band. It says designed in London, which I think is cool. And yeah, it's just really small, really easy. I actually tend to keep mine in here in my bag so it doesn't get dirty or anything. But yeah, just one band for one bag. And I got, I think I said this in my favorites when I brought this up, I got both the bands. So you can do either one band, or you can do 2 bands, or you can do a band, and she also has the barbell pads. But I just did the 2-band bundle, and that means that you get a black band, pink band, and you also get her free Grace Fit glute. I should really have looked this up, I got this wrong in the last video as well, but she gives you basically a guide which tells you how to activate your glutes, how to use these, and how to use them within your workouts and stuff. So yeah, I got the 2-band bundle, which is a black one and a pink one. The pink one is the one that is less resistance, and the black one is actually quite a strong resistance. I was really surprised actually at how good quality these are. They feel really good quality, they have really good resistance. I will say the pink one for me possibly doesn't have quite enough, but if you're new to using resistance bands or you just want to use them for a little bit of activation at the beginning of your workout, the pink one would be totally fine, but my preference is the black one just because it provides a lot of resistance, and that's great. I will also say, because I've talked about the packaging, I may as well also talk about the design, and I actually really like the design. I think it's really nice that it's quite subtle compared to the size of the actual resistance band. The logo itself is actually pretty small. And and I happen to think it's quite a nice logo anyway. Simple, and yeah, I just really like them. Pink isn't my favorite color, I must say, but I'm sure I'm probably one of the only girls who thinks like that. So the black one is my preference, but they're both really good. So other than the fact that they're vegan, they're cruelty-free, they come in a nice small packaging, I think they're really nice looking, and I think they're super effective. The other thing that I really like about them is I think they are super affordable, actually. So yes, of course, like the rubber ones that you can get online, you can get them super cheap, usually, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 10 pounds, something like that, but they tend to be on the cheaper end. However, Grace's ones are actually more like the slingshot loop resistance bands. I think that's what they're called, slingshot, something like that. The one that a lot of people use, they're like blue or orange. And a friend of mine actually came into the gym the other day and she had one of those. And I will say, these are pretty much exactly the same from what I can see. I think maybe the slingshot is slightly thicker this way, but apart from that, the resistance on this one is really similar to the one that she had, and the material seems pretty similar. So really, the only difference that I can see between the two of them is the price. And actually, there's quite a big difference in price. From what I can see, I just looked it up before, the slingshots, the slingshot hip circles are, from what I can see, basically £20 minimum. That's the least you're gonna get them for. One hip circle is £20. Whereas when I ordered my Grace Fit resistance bands, they were actually, well, if you get two, it basically works out to one band being £10 each. So these were both £10 each. So in a sense, I got two resistance bands that are very similar to the slingshot for the price of one. Plus, I got the extra booty guide that came with it. So actually, I think the price point is really, really good. And yeah, I can't really say enough good things about them, to be honest. I was just really pleasantly surprised by the quality and the price and everything. I will just say, one thing that I didn't know was gonna happen was that they charge for shipping, but it's actually quite a lot for shipping, considering it took, I think, probably a week or slightly more to receive them. The shipping itself was about £4.50 as far as I can remember, and that's a little bit steep, to be honest. Most companies now seem to either do free delivery or just a very low delivery, but I will say it's a new company, it's only the second time that she's used these bands, so I can only imagine that in the future that may change, or to be honest, like I said, because the bands are so well priced anyway, I wasn't that bothered to pay that shipping fee. Often I am bothered if I've spent a lot of money on something and they still charge a shipping fee. I'm like, no. But because these were really well priced anyway, I figured it doesn't matter. 2 resistance bands plus a little guide for 25 quid. Pretty good in my book. So I think that's enough gabbing from me for now. I think I included everything I wanted to. If you have any other questions, please do leave them down below and I will definitely reply to them. But yeah, I think I've done enough talking. So now let's get into a little at-home workout. Real love. feels so good. Real love.